There's simply no other music like Scriabin's Fifth Piano Sonata. Before we get into the video, I have an upcoming solo album where I have recorded this sonata along with the first, second, third and fourth as a proper set of Scriabiniana, which is the title. And you can check out the fundraiser campaign for that if you haven't already. It's a great way to support the channel and my musical enterprises that come with it. After having perfected his craft within a fully romantic style, Scriabin started experimenting with his harmonic language in 1903 when he quit his position as a tutor at the Moscow Conservatory and committed to being a free composer full-time. You can sense this in the beginning of the fourth sonata, where he basically invents jazz years ahead of his time, but it's in this sonata he really takes a stand, because he wants to express more than what is possible within the tonal realm. So this work is situated right in the middle. It has sections that are still tonal, like this presto we just heard, very much in the same jazzy vein as the fourth sonata. But a lot of other sections are constantly pulling away from any normal harmonic functions and into a more expressionistic approach. So I'm not going to get too deep in the woods and try to analyze the harmony in this video. I'm going to talk more about the layout and the structure of the piece. Check out this first Languido theme, for example, so you see what I'm talking about. Scriabin had just finished the big symphonic work Poem of Ecstasy when he worked on the sonata. He writes in a letter, "Today I have almost finished my fifth sonata. It is a big poem for piano and I deem it the best composition I have ever written. I do not know by what miracle I accomplished it." And there's also a bit of programmatic context connected to it, as with the third and fourth sonata. To the Poem of Ecstasy, he wrote a 2-page long poem to account for his artistic conceptions, and he took the first 4 lines from that and used it as an epigraph to this sonata. So the works are connected, and I would recommend to read the whole poem. It's quite illuminating of this mad, ecstatic world of creation where these dramas are set. I bring you to life, O mysterious forces, drowned in the obscure depth of the creative spirit, timid shadows of life. To you I bring audacity. Now let's look at all the themes and motifs and how Scriabin puts them together into this fantastic work. It basically starts with a big bang. Impetuoso, impetuous or impulsive, constravaganza with extravagance or eccentric. It's this rumbling like cosmic chaos. And these gestures are so well crafted for the piano hand. Just 5 notes, 5 fingers. Just one gesture. And then impulsive, like flaring up and then immediately going back. Really kicks off the sonata with a bang. So that's like the preamble. Then we get into the prologue, which is a contrast. Now it's all still and we get this Languido theme that we heard before. So the musical time is liberated. It's in 5/8, but it's like you don't feel the pulse, but still it's kind of organic. You get these slow pulsating gestures. So Languido is kind of languid or feeble, very soft and still. And the harmony, we're in some kind of whole tone territory. You can see a whole tone scale. Like it's only using those. Even this. It's the other whole tone scale. Well, not exactly. Yeah, it's complicated. But the thing with the harmonies, it feels both like these fragmented chords and also completely free at the same time. Anyway, like just pauses, comes to a halt because it's a longer note. So it's kind of impossible to feel the meter. Just some movement. This is the pure whole tone, I think. Not all of them, but it's kind of based in a whole tone. Very uncertain. I mean, this chord again, so cool. And now suddenly drop down again. This sounds and feels like The Sorcerer's Apprentice, that famous orchestra piece, something with a tonality. It's a lot of augmented chords, +5 augmented here, and again one augmented and another augmented, and a third. Okay, now accarezzevole, another marking, means caressingly. It comes back later. It's the same kind of motif, but a little bit more moving in the left hand. Gets halted, and again. Now with accelerando, so this is like starting to warm up and getting more energized. You can kind of feel these different states of harmony, like suddenly it's all flats and then it's all natural, like going between different. Anyway, a general pause, and then comes like the real start with the main theme, or the first theme, this presto con allegrezza, with cheerfulness. Very quick but soft still. So it's a special texture. Now it's all the time sticking to these stable chords, in contrast to what was before. But still it's a bit hard to discern what the chords are. I'm just gonna look at the first bar. We have this B major, or D flat minor, or B major 7, with the first two notes in the bass. Like a B major 7. But then, like when he adds more notes lower down in the bass, it kind of changes the chord. So if you take the G sharp, then you get this G sharp minor 7 or G sharp minor 9. Nice chord. And then he adds the C sharp. This is like a C sharp 13, but it's too quick, so you don't recognize those flavors because the bass just comes in the end. Typical Scriabin thing. So it's just, yeah, it is what it is. Anyway, it kind of grows over some time. I'm not going to play all of it because it's really tough. I'm going to move on. But it kind of gains more and more weight. And according to the laws of physics, you have movement with weight, it gets more forceful. So like in the end, it amounts to something forte, something more. So it gets thwarted in the end with this big bass, and it leads into the next character in this drama, which is a motif. So after this, some echoes. Now. So imperioso, it's imperative or commanding. I call it the force motif. It's just really kind of brutal. Some kind of destructive force that comes from outside. And it's not a full theme of its own. It's just like a limited motif that comes in this way all the time. And yeah, rumbling texture in the left hand. And this is a good way to split in the hands, I think. And then a reaction. So, sotto voce, misterioso, affanato. Soft voice, mysterious and anguished. So kind of fearful, frightened by this fourth motive. All the time on the offbeats, doesn't really know what to do. It comes again. And reaction. Now a third time. And now this reactionary gesture mounts a defense. Which grows into this another motive which I call the triumph motive. So quasi trombass, like trumpets, like a brass fanfare, imperioso also commanding. And it's the same kind of chords as in the presto, these triads, but they are light and flying. These are very firm and accented. And it's always this configuration. So the triumph motive comes here. And the transition to the next section. So there was some kind of battle here, but it dies down for now. And the next section is kind of the second theme in the sonata, I would say, or the second theme group. Subject, meno vivo, it's completely new. It's this strange music. It goes like this. So it's kind of a simple melody on top. But it has to wade through this thick fog to get up, and with a thick chromatic inner voices dropping down. Like it's going chromatically. That's one, and also below. And with the melody. Also the harmony is some kind of F7 as a bass, and G is a 9, and then the D, kind of add 13 extensions, and still F7 but with a B in the bass, tritone, kind of really dissolving tonality here. And then you have this suspension on a D flat resolving to a D natural. It's just kind of polytonal. It feels like this is something and then the F is something else. Anyway, the form of this section is simpler. It's just 2 times of the melody, and then a longer middle section, and then 2 times again. Now reaches higher to the G. So, accarezzevole, again, caressingly, it's like very sensual music, even though it's also strange. Now this is a middle part. Same. And now it continues here. Over weird chord changes. But again, some jazzy. Kind of yeah, this is like 13 with the D. Okay, now we get the first phrase again. It it gets so much of the character of this music from this molto rallentando. Like it says molto rallentando the first time and then rallentando, but I think it's kind of the same. It's the same idea every time. Really increases the density of the chromatic inner voices. So it's a special musical phrase, this. And then like when he gets up, then it's tempo. Now this D flat resolving to a D, now it's over a B flat instead of a B natural. So this is like a weird major, minor to major. And the final time higher. And now it just dissipates in air before it gets to the top note. Because now it's thwarted again, and we get the final new motif in the exposition, the final page of the exposition, Allegro Fantastico. This is a march, so very short, like that, with accelerando. So this will come back later too. You just hear it in a very short statement here. Then it's a second march motif, presto tumultuoso esaltato. A lot of Italian words to learn here. Tumultuous, esaltato is exalted. So this is again connected to the buzzing presto theme, like these chords, but we have them lower down, and it's a new configuration over this imposing bass. And it's the triumph motif it grows into. And again. It's so hard to get all the notes right here. So anyway, this brings back the cosmic chaos to close off the exposition. So now we've seen all the themes and motifs presented in the exposition, and now starts the second part of the sonata, which is a really extensive development section where all themes and motifs take part in the drama that unfolds. So it starts the same way with the same languido theme, exactly the same, but it's transposed one whole tone up. So it's really nice to have some material that you recognize, because it's so much new all the time otherwise. It follows the same path. We're back in space, floating around. Here it goes somewhere different. So it kind of stops here in order to make way for something new. So now starts, like, there's a really long stretch of ever increasing energy. So it starts kind of low key, and we get a lot of themes and motifs coming together. So here we get this. Can you see what two themes or motifs are here? So we have the presto buzzing theme in the right hand. Like it's different harmonies. And in the left hand, it's the force motive. So they're together at the same time. By the way, this chord, just for a moment, super jazzy. force, it's like Scriabin is applying pressure to these mysterious life forces to waken them alive with this motif. Some fragments of the languido, like these still notes, but over these soft climbing chromatic inner voices. So it's part of this reactionary gesture to the first time the force motif comes. Where are we? Like this. This is what comes here underneath. Come back down now for like a second round of all this. It's a slightly longer time of the buzzing presto theme. Now, again, chromatic. So exciting music. This kind of brings back the marching part, the march that turns into the triumph motif, but in a slightly new way. So it also comes 2 times. Now this brings back the cosmic chaos, but leggerissimo volando, very lightly and flying. So it's the highest energy motif we have, but it's soft. So it's really cool. This is the languido theme, also transformed to a quick version. Just turns into these cosmic flares. And finally here we get a moment to breathe after all this energy build up. So now the second part of the development section is more about the meno vivo part. So these chords brings in the melody from the meno vivo, but it's also very expanded and developed. By the way, this chord is the famous Scriabin Prometheus chord or mystic chord. Just a short detour. It's the same both times in different transpositions, but the second time. So it's kind of spaced out in 4th voicing. So the first 4 notes, it's like a 7 flat 5 chord, B flat here, but tritone, major 3rd tritone. Like this is a chord, but then he adds 2/4 on top of this. Here with the C on top, yeah. So cool, open chord. And this whole section is so supple and tender and beautiful. I'm gonna do it again. So we start from some kind of A tonality, A dominant. It's the same mystic chord. And going down, and now we get the meno vivo theme that it's like in its original form. melody on top, a little bit more voices going down in the deep bass to fill out this chromatic. But we get to this chord, another new chord. This is like a C7 sharp 9. This dirty feeling with both the major third and the minor third at the same time, but then with a B in the bass, which is not part of that chord. And then over the whole register like this. And again. And now, yeah, I forgot to say the C7 sharp 9, but also with the flat 5 before. The F sharp is a flat 5, and the second time it's a sharp 5 with the G sharp instead. Okay, continuing. Now it's the higher melody. Now, what comes now? This is the march. Very weird entry. Let's pretend it didn't happen. Comes again. So it's a big dialogue between this march and the Meno Vivo. Like, yeah, really irreconcilable contrast. Just see what happens. So it comes a second time, this melody in its highest iteration. And okay, this stops here, and now the march kind of takes over. And this is really eccentric music. Con una ebbrezza fantastica. With a fantastic intoxication, does that mean? So it's really eccentric. This, like, it comes in tempo after we've heard it 2 times, very short. So it starts allegro, but immediately goes ritardando, like it's getting second thoughts when it enters. And then kind of it gets going again. Yeah, and all this. And eventually it grows into the triumph motif you should recognize by now. These brass chords. Expanded. And okay, so the outgrowth of this is again the Meno Vivo theme, but transformed to a forte, a really thick, like, yeah, getting to the ecstatic part of this sonata, more filled out chromatic voices in the left hand. Yeah, so hard. Yeah, ECSTATIC triple forte. Like, this is it goes to the bursting point, just pushes on. So after that, there's nothing more that can be done. It just stops. And then we're back to the recapitulation of the sonata. Just drops down, and we get a repeat of the main theme, the presto buzzing theme. First time it's this time it's prestissimo, so slightly faster. I don't think I'm doing it much faster. but still it's the same kind of energy. It's a different key now. This time it's... So if you can compare these two, it feels like it's lower down. It feels somehow more in the tonic, even though the sonata is completely all over the place. But yeah, B major, like E major, the chords with a B in the bass, something like that. Anyway, so from here on we get the same sequence of themes and motifs. I'm not going to play all of this because it's the same. I have to listen to the full sonata, a recording of that to get that. But it's the presto buzzing theme. Then it's the fourth motif, it grows into the triumph motif. Then it's the meno vivo in another key. Like this is reaching higher than it was before. And then we get the march after that, and this march is continuing for longer, and it brings about the coda of the sonata, like the big cataclysmic ending. So let's get into the march here after the final. When you so now we get the march. Okay, so let's go back a bit. So it again grows into the triumph motif, but now for quite a long time we get this lovely chord, con luminosità, with luminosity really glowing and big bass to support. So the chords here, slower with also, but also quicker in the top. I love this. You have to octave and a fifth as an upbeat. It really activates all the registers simultaneously at the piano. So now we reach the final ecstatic moment. It says in the score, estatico, ecstatic. So now it's yet another transformation. So this is the languido theme. So in the first time, it's just super still and floating around in space. Like that. But now we have full pumping chords. Now for some nice polyrhythms. 3 against 4, but not just 3 notes like on a line against 3 notes. It's 3 notes in full chords, repeated chords. It's some amazing resonance you can get out of the piano doing. So C minor 7 and then C half diminished. And then C major and 7 and flat 5. And some augmented. And just, yeah, can't contain yourself in the end. And a final restart from a lower dynamic again. It's the march in presto that's gonna go to the cosmic chaos to end the sonata here. yeah, something like that. It's super hard to catch all the right notes because it's so quick, and like you need so much tension because it's loud and it's energetic, but the tension makes you cleanse up a bit, which makes it harder to catch all the notes. It's an amazing sonata. Personally, I think it's one of the best piano sonatas ever written by any composer, because he goes so far, you know. It's amazing musical adventure he presents here. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this analysis video or playthrough, and the Patreon shout out goes to Scott Lamb.